Just when I thought I was out, they dragged me back in. Hi guys, welcome to my movie fan channel. My name's Tyler. Today's retro review is going to be for The Godfather 3. If you guys are new to the channel, hit the like button down below, the little thumbs up. That really helps us out. Also hit subscribe and hit the little notification bell. That way you get alerts for when I post a new video. This movie has a lot of the cast from the first two movies coming back to reprise their roles. There are a few that aren't there, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But they were all really great. Some of the newer characters aren't as good. In this movie, Michael Corleone is looking to take the family business legitimate. He's going fully legitimate. He's trying to work out a deal with the Catholic Church to take over this giant corporation. He's drawn back into the life of crime, and everything he's worked really hard for is now in jeopardy again. One of the things I noticed right away as soon as you see him in this movie is the Corleone children aren't played by the best actors in the world. Sofia Coppola plays the daughter, and there's just some things that she does that other actors wouldn't do, and I feel if a different actress was in that role, it would have been just as good as the first two Godfathers in other people's opinions. Definitely in my opinion, because she was some of the cringiest parts where her character was out of place, and then the son was more of like a singer actor. If he was doing all his own singing, I assume that's what he was, but he wasn't portrayed by the best actor either. They were reduced roles. I feel like Andy Garcia, his character fits in with the Godfather universe where the children, Michael's children, really don't. They don't feel like they belong there. Diane Keaton's scene where she pleads with Michael to let their son be a singer as opposed to being a lawyer is really, really powerful. She has a huge role in this movie in terms of what she had in the other two movies. She got progressively more and more of a role. In this movie, Michael tries to rekindle their relationship after everything that has happened, and it's almost successful, but he shows his true colors in that ultimately nothing has really changed with him. He's still somebody to be feared, and his actions still cause a rift between their family and probably ultimately the downfall of their family when their daughter Mary is killed. And it looks like Michael lives out the rest of his life alone. He dies in the final scene with nobody running to his side. Nobody's there. It's just him. He kind of ostracizes everybody, and Mary was the one that was closest to him. So after she's gone, he's really got nobody left. One of my favorite parts of this movie is there's like a hit that happens, which happens in all the Godfather movies. But in this one, there's people sitting around like a dinner table having like a business meeting, which happens in all the Godfather movies too. But gunshots go off. There's like a helicopter in the air, and a guy dives out of the way. Guys are running to the door. They can't get out. Door's locked. And this guy runs up, and he goes to the coat hanger, and he's trying to pull his coat off the hanger, and he's getting shot at. And somebody yells at him like, "Hey, you might want to get out of here. You're getting shot at." And he's like, "It's my lucky coat." And the dude can't get it off the rack. I'm like, pick it up and move. He's all stressed out, but why are you going for the coat? It's called bulletproof. Is like Doctor Strange's like cloak that'll like fly and like take all the bullets for it. That was kind of funny. But little character moments like that are throughout the Godfather trilogy and what make them really, really good. It gives them a lot of character and style. There's another scene like that is for Andy Garcia's character, Vincent. He hugs this guy that he doesn't like, and his former boss, who's like one of the bad guys, and bites the dude's ear off like Mike Tyson. He's like, rips his ear right off. And I was like, that was awesome. And that was early on, too. So that sets him up like, oh, shit, he's got like a temper. This guy's nuts. Now, his character is the son of Sonny from the first movie, which is cool. And he's older now, obviously, and he has traits from his father, but he's a lot like Michael. It's very reminiscent of Michael with the temper, which Michael is like, you got your father's temper, but Michael's got a temper, too. And he snaps like that. And towards the end of the movie, he's totally like Michael. He's exactly like him, and that's kind of why Michael takes him under his wing and why eventually he becomes the Godfather himself at the end of the movie. The incest angle was a little weird. I've watched Game of Thrones now, so I guess I'm a little like null to it. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing that happened in this movie to like expect, so I was kind of like, whoa, what the hell? And it just kept going. It was a through line of the whole movie. I was like, oh shit, they just found out their cousins. So, like, that was weird that they were flirting. Maybe they should stop now. Be like if Star Wars, like, Leia kisses Luke, they don't know their cousins, and then, like, they find out, and then if he still pursued her, it'd be, like, weird. It's like, what the hell is that? Now, I know this movie isn't beloved as the first two Godfather movies, but to me, those movies feel long, are long, but I wish they were longer. And with this third movie, it feels every bit as long as its runtime, which is actually less than the first two movies, I believe. At least the second movie was like 2.5 hours. But this one feels like it just goes on and forever in some parts. And I think I know the reason why. I attribute this to some lackluster acting performances, as I talked about before. Those kind of really slowed down and bring the movie down for me, in my opinion. And there's also one of the smaller things is Robert Duvall's presence in this movie is like greatly missed. Like, he didn't have such a huge role in that franchise. He was more, he would come in here and there. He was like the right-hand man. He would counsel. He was just kind of like a voice in Michael's ear to propel him in the right direction, have him not lose sight of what he wanted, and to keep him alive and keep him sane and alleviate some of the stress. He did that for Vito Corleone. He did it for Michael. Michael was pushing him out, though. So it kind of makes sense he's not in the third movie. They don't really ever address it, which is weird because this movie's super tied into the first two. They reference everything. I really wish he was in this movie. I don't know if they just didn't pay him enough or something. I was kind of reading some articles, glancing over him. But Robert Duvall, I wish he was in this movie. He's greatly missed. I was like 20 minutes into the movie and I was like, where is he? He hasn't showed up yet. And then I like looked at IMDb and I was like, god damn, what the hell? That sucks. I think this movie's executed really well. It mirrors a lot of the plot lines and sequences and just the structure of how the movie's set up from the first two, which are like perfect, I believe, and I think a lot of people think they're some of the best movies ever. It's a tall order to follow those movies, but this one is trying, and it follows that same structure. There's a sequence at the opera house at the very end of the movie which rhymes with the christening scene in the first movie when Michael's killing off all his enemies, and then in the second movie they have a similar scene to that too. You really feel the tension and you're like, everything has built up to this. They're taking out everybody and it's violent and there's people dying and there's a million things happening at once. It's cutting back and forth between all the different things. Return of the Jedi does this really well with the space battle, the Jedi fighting, and then Han Solo on the ground taking guys out, the Ewoks fighting, Chewbacca and the thing. They do that really good, the cutting back in between, building up anticipation and hype and excitement in a climax that is well deserved. This movie also has it. The plotting, the jockeying for power, all of that is there. It's on par for the franchise. The action, the killing, the violence, the dialogue, all of that I think is really, really good and deserving of the franchise. It takes place so many years after the first two movies, which are two of the best movies of all time, that didn't help its cause either. I think it's a worthy sequel. I think it's not as good as the other two. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't see why people wouldn't like this movie. It's good. It's not as good as the other two. Maybe their expectations were super high, but I went and I was like, this is awesome. Al Pacino is still doing his thing. He's like exactly the same guy. That's how you would see that guy being years later. He's the main focus. I know they don't like some of the side characters. They don't have huge roles in it. Certainly not enough to ruin the whole thing. And then it was even emotional. I was saying Sofia Coppola isn't that good. It's emotional when she dies at the end. You're like, oh shit. And Al Pacino is awesome. He like does that cry and they don't have the volume in. And then when you finally hear him like whelp, it's like, oh my god. It was awesome. I like this movie a lot. That's my review for The Godfather 3, guys. If you liked it, like I said, hit the little thumb button down below. Give it a like. Subscribe. Hit the little notification bell. That way you get to see and contribute to the conversation. Share it with your friends and family on Facebook, Twitter, all the social medias. That way they can participate too. You can talk amongst yourselves together. Leave a comment in the comment section. I'll reply back to you. I love talking movies. And we'll talk some more movies down below there. Tune in next Wednesday, guys, for my Goodfellas review. and I'm really excited for that. I've seen that movie a bunch of times. I really like it. We're going to go get the papers. And I will see you in the next review, guys.